The new CEO of the DFL might have big plans for the Bundesliga. Let's get right into it. Welcome to Talking Bayern, the one-stop shop for Bayern Munich content on YouTube. Big news today is it sounds like DFL are reportedly considering end-of-season playoffs for the Bundesliga. So DFL's new CEO told Bild, "There are no taboos for me. If playoffs will help us, then we'll talk about playoffs." So they clearly want to add some excitement to the league after Bayern Munich's dominance. Obviously, Bayern have now won 9 consecutive German titles and are set for their 10th. Obviously, Dortmund is still in the race, but it looks like Bayern are the favorites at this point. But most Bundesliga sides are reportedly against the idea, including teams like Leverkusen, Frankfurt, and Union Berlin. Surprisingly, though, Bayern CEO Oliver Kahn said that Bayern are always open to new ideas. Kahn has said that he finds it exciting to think about new models such as playoffs for the Bundesliga. He said it makes sense to play through such an idea. I agree with him, fleshing out and, seeing through an idea and kind of playing out that idea in your head and kind of analyzing what it could look like. He never said that, he wants it to happen for sure, but he says he's open to new ideas, and I agree with him. However, former Bayern president Uli Hoeneß slammed the idea as ridiculous. As for what I think, there's obviously so much history in the sport and the league that should be preserved. The beauty of football is that it's changed so little, over the years compared to other sports in North America. I remember how much people were hesitant to see VAR. Obviously, it was a great change for the game. There's obviously a clear hesitance to change the sport, but sometimes change is good for a sport, especially when it gets outdated. In my mind, baseball is a sport that needs to get changed with the times, but I'm not sure if football needs to change in this way. If I wanted to change the sport, I would make adjustments to the VAR system and some of the parts of officiating. This certainly wouldn't be the first thing I would go to change about football. I wouldn't go for the playoff system right off the bat before looking into other problems. But then again, there's nothing dangerous about speculating and talking about these ideas, as Khan said. It is so far away from happening that it's okay to talk about these things. Even if you don't want the playoffs to happen, you should still want to know how these conversations and at least kind of speculate of what it would look like. However, no other major league in the world does this, and I'm not sure that Germany, needs to be the first one to do this in football, because it could really upset fans and the fairness of the sport. There's obviously questions we have to ask ourselves. Would this solely determine the league title? Is there another way we would allow this to determine European qualification, but not the league winner? Like maybe we'd have, there's the winner of the league goes through the table, they won the league, and then maybe, the teams like 2-9 or 2-11 go into a playoff bracket. There's a lot of considerations that can make this idea either better or worse depending on what side you're on. I know the other teams in the Bundesliga are tired of seeing Bayern win, but honestly, that's just part of the beauty of Bayern's dominance. We're playing by the rules and we keep on winning because of Bayern's excellence. You have to respect their quality and just how well they operate this team. You can't trash Bayern too much. Obviously, if you're another team, you're going to hate Bayern, but Bayern's not really doing anything wrong. And with playoffs, would there even be a point in having the season? Because in some American sports, it feels like the games aren't as important. The intensity and importance of football matches is so much higher because so much value is given on the table. Whereas it isn't a big deal in some other sports. Especially with, baseball with over 160 games in the season, it seems like, one game means nothing to the course of the season, and it takes away the value and entertainment out of the match when there aren't as great of stakes compared to, the Der Klassiker. Bayern versus Dortmund, that matchup is huge. If Dortmund wins that game in the second half of the season, that's going to be massive for the title race. Dortmund's right back there. Bayern dropped 3 points, and then this title race is wide open. If the Toronto Blue Jays lose to whatever, it's not really going to change our season that one result. So I think we can have this conversation, and we should never be afraid of change. But we must protect the history and integrity of the sport. It's definitely an interesting conversation to have. I'm not 100% against playoffs. I don't think Bundesliga should be the first one to do it because obviously there's definitely change that we don't want to see in the sport. I don't want to see us over commercialized. I don't want to see us going too far one way where it's all just playoffs and it's all just about the commercialization of the sport. But I don't think I think you can keep the integrity of sport in playoffs. If it's really, really well done and there's still some fairness in the sport. It's not just like everyone goes in the playoffs. So it'd be interesting to see how it would be done. I'm not ready to accept this. I don't want playoffs right now. Maybe something in the future, something to think about. But that's kind of my stance. I'm not really, afraid of change in the sport, but I do think we have to protect the history of the sport as well. So kind of in that balanced ground. Let me know what you think. I'm interested to see what everyone hears. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and a comment. And if you want to see more Bayern Munich content like this in the future, please subscribe to this channel. Hope to see you on the next one. Until then, Mia Samia.